Hello everyone, I am going to look at Bronn's skills. So Bronn here is a Graveborn hero, also a strength-based hero. The class is a warrior, and the primary role is a buff. So looking at the ultimate skill, first we have Wandering Reaper. Once the battle begins, Bronn steadily advances towards the edge of the battlefield, impervious to knockbacks. Along the way, he deals normal attacks to any obstructing foes. Upon reaching the edge, Bronn turns around and stops moving, during which he is invincible and untargetable. His normal attacks then shift to ranged attacks, dealing damage for 200% of his attack rating to enemies in his path. Bronn can't unleash his ultimate before reaching the edge of the battlefield, and each fallen allied hero slows his movement speed by 10%. And when Bronn triggers his ultimate, he releases Nefarious Souls from his tombstone, damaging enemy heroes for 250% of his attack rating and terrifying them for 2 seconds, all while he is immune to control effects. And with a level 2, Bronn grants allied heroes 250 dodge points and 100 magic suppression points until he reaches the edge of the battlefield. And level 3, upon reaching the edge of the battlefield, Bronn can immediately unleash his ultimate without consuming energy. So it looks like depending on how many attacks he does with this skill, it could do quite a bit of damage. It will also give the allied heroes dodge and magic suppression. That looks like quite a bit of points here for the dodge and magic suppression. So looking at the second skill, we have Dire Echo. This is a passive ability. Bronn's normal attacks are enhanced before he reaches the edge of the battlefield. Each hit deals damage for 200% of his attack rating and knocks back enemies on both sides, stunning them for 2 seconds. Upon reaching the edge of the battlefield, ranged attacks inflict more damage the farther they travel, maxing out at 50%. And level 2, when the same enemy hero blocks his path, Bronn's blows hit 15% harder with each strike, up to a maximum of 200%. Level 3, it increases these stats here to 35% and 300%. And level 4, upon breaching the enemy's side, his attacks inflict more damage the farther they travel, maxing out at 75%. So allowing him to do even more damage, also doing some crowd control effects here as well. And looking at the third skill, we have Shadow's Embrace. Once Bronn reaches the edge of the battlefield, he empowers all surviving allies, including himself, with Spectral Force, enhancing their damage output by 30% until the battle ends. He is immune to control effects while this skill activates. The more allied enemies, that's kind of weird, it says allied enemies there instead of allied heroes. Still standing, the greater the damage increase, up to 50% max. This enhancement cannot be dispelled. And level 2, when dealing damage, allied heroes who acquire Spectral Force will unleash additional damage for 150% of Bronn's attack rating. Effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. Level 3, when dealing damage, allied heroes who acquire Spectral Force will unleash additional damage for 200% of Bronn's attack rating. Effect can be triggered once every 1 second. Then we have the first Engraving skill. Before reaching the edge of the battlefield, each instance of damage taken by Bronn won't exceed 15% of his max health. So giving himself and his allies here some more damage, enhancing their damage output. And this lasts until the battle ends, so that is very powerful. And doing even more damage with level 2 and level 3. And let's look at the final skill. We have Soul Devourer's Pact. Before reaching the edge of the battlefield and turning around, Bronn inflicts health loss on enemy heroes every 3 seconds, dealing damage for 250% of his attack rating, while healing any allied heroes for 20% of the total health loss dealt. And level 2, when an enemy dies, Bronn absorbs their soul, permanently boosting his attack rating by 10% and defense rating by 10% up to 3 times max. And level 3, it increases these stats here by 15% for both attack rating and defense rating, up to 4 times max. And then level 4 with the second Engraving skill, when granting allies Spectral Force, each absorbed soul further enhances the damage boost effect by 5%, and permanently increases physical pierce and magic pierce by 8 points. Effect can stack up to 5 times. The thing I'm looking at with this one are the buffs that he's giving to himself and his allies. But this skill can also heal allied heroes as well, which is very cool. And let's look at the signature item. So unlocking this signature item before reaching the edge of the battlefield, Bronn gains 15 points of armor, which doubles when his health drops below 40%. At plus 10 before reaching the edge of the battlefield, Bronn gains 20 points of armor, which doubles when his health drops below 50%. At plus 20 before reaching the enemy's side, each time Bronn damages the same enemy blocking his path, their subsequent attacks against Bronn are weakened for 5 seconds, reducing their damage by 25%, and this effect cannot be stacked. The plus 30 signature item before reaching the edge of the battlefield, each time Bronn damages the same enemy blocking his path, any of their subsequent attacks against all allies are weakened for 5 seconds, reducing their damage by 25%. The effect cannot be stacked again. Then we have the plus 40 signature item before reaching the edge of the battlefield. Upon taking fatal damage for the first time, Bronn becomes invincible and untargetable for 4 seconds and restores 60% of his max health. So overall, this signature item sounds pretty good, giving him some armor points, also weakening the attacks of the enemy heroes that are blocking his path. Doing that for both himself and the allied heroes with the plus 30 signature item, that sounds very powerful. Also will become invincible and untargetable if he takes fatal damage. So overall, this signature item skill sounds very powerful. Let's look at the exclusive furniture. With a 3 of 3 upon reaching the edge of the battlefield, Bronn gains 20 points of buffer, which doubles when his health drops below 50%, and 9 of 9 upon reaching the edge of the battlefield and casting Shadow's Embrace. After 8 seconds, or if there are fewer than 2 allied heroes remaining, Bronn dispels most debuffs from all surviving allies. Damage taken is reduced by 30%, and they gain 20 points of buffer for the rest of the battle. So with this one giving both himself and his allies some buffer points. Also looks like this furniture can reduce the damage taken by allies. So overall, this furniture sounds pretty good as well. And overall, my thoughts, I think Bronn could be a very good hero. With all the damages and buffs that he can do and give to his allied heroes and himself, it sounds like Bronn can be a very useful hero for teams. But overall, we are going to have to see with testing to see whether Bronn does well or not. And if you like this video, then make sure to click the like button. Also subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any more videos from me. And also comment what do you think about Bronn. And thanks for watching.